My favorite Spider-Man villain is the Rhino. Yeah, I said it, it's not the green goober Professor Bandywire or that anti-hero made out of black goop. The GOAT of Spider-Man's rogues gallery is a gigantic roided out bodybuilder in a Rhino onesie. The simplicity of the character as well as in his design and his motivation give him an endearing quality to me. The Rhino, Alexei Sistevich, was a Russian mob enforcer who volunteered for an experimental permanent bonding process with a thick indestructible rhinoceros-like hide to his skin. His indestructibility combined with his super strength make him into a human bulldozer much like the Juggernaut. Alexei would of course use his newfound abilities to run headfirst into walls while robbing banks, so he could pay for his family's immigration to America. Created by Stan Lee and John Romita Sr. in 1966, the Rhino is a classic Spider-Man villain. My first introduction to the character was on the Game Boy Advance Spider-Man 2 game, where after delivering a bunch of pizzas in the opening of the game, your first boss fight is stopping the Rhino from escaping prison. You do this by dodging traffic, followed by throwing barrels in the Rhino's face. The second stage of the boss fight sees the Rhino running headfirst into walls for pieces of said building to drop on his horned head. After this, I got some more Rhino action in the form of 1994's animated Spider-Man series. Big Doom had supplied me with some sus copies of the show which I couldn't get enough of. When as a little Doombot I watched Artemis Prime's review of the Marvel Select Rhino action figure, I knew that I needed it, even though at the time Little Doombot 15 did not have the means to acquire such an exquisite piece of action figure art. It would take Dave 13 years to finally get his hands on a Rhino action figure, but sadly I think that the figure I purchased is a fake knockoff. Don't dread, my fellow Doombots, because the retro-carded Marvel Legends Rhino figure will soon become a part of Doom's collection. You can imagine that I was delighted to find out in 2014 that Rhino would make his first live-action appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, played by an Oscar-nominated dramatic actor, Paul Giamatti, no less. The choice with going with a newer version of the mechanical Rhino would not have been my choice, but it was understandable with the actor they cast. I did like Giamatti's over-the-top performance, but till this day I am still pissed off that Sony cut the Rhino vs. Spider-Man fight scene short. Rhino was literally the driving force for me buying my ticket, and to find out that the fight scene we were teased in the trailer was literally the ending of the film, only preceded by the end credits, made me want to ram my head straight into the wall. Looking back at it, I actually like the design of the Rhino in TASM 2 because it really looks like a Rhino when Paul Giamatti is on all fours. Pause. Shoutouts Tituan VFX for actually creating the Rhino v Spidey scene we never got. Link will be in the description of this video. What I'm trying to say is, if this movie would have given us a proper Rhino vs. Spider Garfield fight, Andrew would probably have had his own trilogy today. The latest version of the Rhino in the Kraven the Hunter movie was one step forward and two steps back. I loved how Rhino was just a big dude that ran headfirst into stuff. The fight scene between Kraven and our horn-headed goober was entertaining, but making him a mob boss of his own instead of the hired muscle just does not fit the character. Also, the skin condition Rhino had in this film was not really explained properly. I know that Spider-Man Brand New Day will open with Spidey ramping up a bunch of villains, and it would personally make my day if one of these goofy goobers in that opening montage would be a buff dude in a Rhino onesie. Let Doom know what you think of the Rhino down below.
Doom scribe to Doombot 15.